Well, welcome to another Wednesday edition of virtual tasting of the featured Effin' Beer of the Week. Today we got a great one we wait all year for. It's the FnXmasTree. And this is a beer that just brings the whole essence of Christmas time into a glass. And you're going to find out why it makes it so special and how you're going to get it and how we brewed it. But just take a look at this beautiful bounty of fresh fir tips, this beautiful glass of the holiday IPA FnXmasTree, and let's get started with the recipe. So this FnXmasTree brewed in a third half barrel batch, which is 15.5 gallons. It's a 6.7 alcohol by volume beer, and it's 66 IBUs. Original gravity is 1.063, terminal gravity 1012. SRM is 11. So you can see the color on here. It's a little darker than, I would say, like the Cease and Desist Skittles IPA. It's a little darker than the Bothell IPA. So it's got a little bit more color, 11, where those were in the 7s, 6, and 7 ranges. We use London water, and we use the Imperial Yeast Company's Kaiser yeast, which is a German yeast strain. We just want to bring out the essence of this beer, and I love the way the German yeast does that. For our malts, we used 4 malts. We used Crisp Maris Otter as one of our base malts. We use 16 pounds, or 42% of the malt bill, and then we also use Rahr's Alex Two-Row from Alberta, Canada, another 16 pounds and 42%. Then we've got 3 pounds each of Castle Biscuit, comes from Belgium, and that's 8% of our malt bill, and then we use Crisp Amber Malt, and that's where we're getting a lot of our color from, is that amber malt. 3 pounds for 8% as well. Mashed at 150 degrees. So we want it not to be too hot, because we want to make sure we are getting some clean conversion to sugars. We don't want a big mouthfeel, we want a little bit lighter balanced, so we can bring out the essence of the hoppiness character and of the fir tips. We mash it for 1 hour at the 150 degrees, then we sparge it with 170 degree water, and we collect all of our sugars into our boil kettle. And at that time, we're adding in 3 pounds of fir tips, and just like these right here. But the thing is, what we used is just the very tip. So on this sprig right here, we would cut these off at so we didn't have the whole thing there. And so you're only going to want to take this chunk of this one right here. And so they're all these. So the wood inside is very, very small. We don't want a lot of wood into the beer. We want mainly just fresh, greenery, and really soft wood. And so that's really the key. So we're going to leave some of these bigger pieces behind, as you can see, and we're just going to take the tips off of all these. So I would use gloves, because you're going to get some pitch on your hands, and make sure you're using a sharp pruning shear when you're doing that. 3 pounds of them in this. So they'll go to the bottom of our boil kettle, and as we bring our wort in, it's just going to start floating, and then when we bring our boil, it's going to just boil all the way through. So it's in there the whole time. 3 pounds of fir tips right here from our yard, and we cut them the day that we actually brewed them. So you don't want them drying out too much. You want to have some of that resin still there and fresh, and you want to be able to bring out all that fir character. So when we start our boil for 1 hour, we had, at the start of the boil, we had 2.2 ounces of Columbus hops, and that's going to give us 41 IBUs. At 30 minutes, we had Centennial hops, 2.5 ounces, because it was 20 IBUs. And then at 5 minutes left, we had 1.3 ounces of Centennial, which gives us another 5 IBUs. That's all transferred to fermentation into our fermenter at 65 degrees, and we let it rise up to 68. We let this ferment for 2 weeks. We wanted a nice clean fermentation. We got down to 10-12 for finishing gravity. There's not a lot of residual sugars left in it. And then we transfer it to secondary for another 2 weeks at 32 degrees to give us our clarity on it. And it's got some good clarity on it. It's hard to tell right here. Maybe a little bit of haze. I think the haze is going to be coming from the fir, because there's no filtration here, but we boiled that for 1 hour with all that the fir tips. You're pulling oils out of the fir tip. You're getting all that great character out of it. Then we put it into our kegs, and we force carbonate to 1.5 volumes. We don't want to be really, really spritzy. We want to have that character that we can taste all the malty richness as well as all that hop character and the fir character. The result is this beautiful beer right here. Very, very clean. Let's take a smell. I'm getting some nice hoppy aromas. I get a little bit of resiny aroma from the fir. Not picking much up on the malt bill at all. Color on this is going to be a nice light copper color. It's a dark golden or light copper. Well, what I love so when you're doing putting that fir in there, so you're pulling a little bit of sweetness out of that wood. So as you boil those fir tips, there is a residual sweetness that comes up front. I can taste that the resin quality on there. I can taste the malts on it. I get some rich biscuity malts in there. A little bit of heat from the 6.7% alcohol. On the back end is where I'm getting the bittering qualities, and I'm getting that resiny texture, stickiness from the fir tips, and it just kind of lingers on forever. Kind of sticks in the back of your mouth and down your tongue, and that flavor just shines. This is one that's going to not go away in your mouth, so it's going to be one that you can sip it, and you're going to just think about all those characters and the flavors in there, and you're going to go, wow, it goes on and on and on, and it's delicious. I'm served it at 40 degrees. I didn't let it warm up. I think this is a beer you're going to want to have on the colder side. It's very, very nice. So 3 pounds of fir tips for the full boil. And you can get that resiny stickiness out of it, and that's coming from those fir tips that were boiled in there. Well, let's see who we got on here tonight. We've got Kim and Stephanie and Judy and Mark and Craig and Lynn and Anthony. And Anthony says Butch's Brew is very good. Well, it's one of my favorites. It sure is a delightful beer, and it's special this time of year when it gets a little colder, a little rainy. Butch's Brew is just that flavor character is a real treat, I think. We've got Bob. We've got Craig. Another different Craig with a K and a Craig with a C, and we've got Wade watching. So if you've got any questions, don't hesitate to ask. But this beer is going to be available in growler fills this weekend. I encourage you to pick some up so you'll have some on Christmas Day, because this weekend will be our last pickups before Christmas, because we won't be open on Christmas Day. We'll be open the day after Christmas. So if you want to have your Foggy Noggin beers, you got to make sure you stock up this weekend. You might want to get double quantities so you've got enough to make it through the week, and you've got it for Christmas Day as well. This is one you're going to want to have. The FnXmasTree. Sit around the tree, turn the lights on, and drink a growler. And if you're going to share it with somebody, you want to get 2 growlers, because this time of year, you're not going to drive around anywhere. You're going to be sitting at home, and you want to make sure you don't run out of beer. So it's $22 for a 64-ounce growler, unless you've got a growler card, and that's a great investment. For $150, you get 12 growler fills, and they basically pay for themselves, because this beer being 22 and growler cards 150 for 12, you do the math. It's like, I feel like those growlers are free. So you can pick those up. You can also pick up a lot of gifts this weekend. So we got this beautiful sweatshirt here, Foggy Noggin sweatshirt. It's the most comfortable sweatshirt you would ever wear. We've got t-shirts, we got hats, we got pint glasses, we got lots of bottled product, and we've got a lot of growlers and gift cards. So if you don't know what to get somebody, get them an effing gift card. Any denomination. If you want to only give them $5, just let me know, and we make one for $5 for you. If you want to do a $1,000 one, we can do a $1,000 one. So anywhere between $5 and $1,000. And if you want more, I'm sure you can twist my arm if you want to go over $1,000. So that's how that works. And how do you know what to do? So go to the foggynogginbrewing.com website and hit the beer tab. And that's where you're going to get all the details on what's available this weekend, and all the merchandise, and what beers you're going to put in growlers, which beers are in bottles. And so that's kind of cool. So this beer right here, FnXmasTree, 6.7% alcohol, 66 IBUs, We call it a holiday IPA. And because it's not like any other IPA, because you got the fir tips in there. It's that season. And I'll tell you, when I was boiling with those fir tips, I felt like I was at the Christmas tree lot. I mean, you had that steam coming out of the boil kettle with all the fir tips and the hop aroma. And it was Christmas all brew day on this beer. And it sure feels like Christmas in a glass here. We got Brian and Ryan and Dan watching too. So welcome. So let's go over the ingredients again real quick. So it was a half barrel batch, 15.5 gallons. So if you're going to home brew this yourself, just pare it down. We got crisp Maris Otter. So you want a nice British Maris Otter, and that's going to be 42% of your malt bill, or 16 pounds. And then I also put Rahr's Alex 2-row, which is a North American domestic 2-row, 16 pounds as well, for another 42%. Then we have some biscuit malt from Belgium, from Castle is the maltster. We put in 3 pounds, or 8%, and then we put 3 pounds of crisp amber malt. That gives some rich character to it and a little bit of color to it, and that was also 8% of the malt bill. We mash it at 150 degrees. And then we sparge it at 170 and strip all those sugars off the grains and collect it in the boil kettle, and we boil it for 1 hour. It's important that you have these fir tips in there for the full hour. And I put 3 pounds of these fir tips in a half barrel batch. So you could do more if you want more of the fir tip kind of quality, or you could do less if you just want to not do that. You could also dry hop it with the fir tips. The only problem is, if you don't know this being out in the wild, you'd probably really want to boil these a little bit to make sure there's no yeast that might be on there from just being outside. That's going to bring some unwanted character into that beer, and you might get some wild fermentation in your secondary. But anyway, so it's going to boil for 1 hour. You're going to put it Columbus hops at 60 minutes, 2.2 ounces for 41 IBUs. Then at 30 minutes left, you're going to put 2.5 ounces of Centennial hops. That gives you another 20 IBUs. And then at 5 minutes left, you're going to put in 1.3 ounces of Centennial for 5 IBUs. You're going to let it ferment for 2 weeks. We pitch it at 65, and we do that on the Kaiser yeast from Imperial, which is a German yeast. So if you can't get that, you can get Y Yeast or White Labs. Get their German ale yeast. We have our water profile as London water, and 2 weeks of fermentation. Don't let it go over 68 degrees. Transfer to secondary for another 2 weeks. We do it at 32 degrees to get our crashing, so we can get all the drop out and have it really cleans the beer out. And then we force carbonate to 1.5 volumes. And the result is this delicious holiday IPA. It really is a holiday treat, and I think this is a new tradition that everybody should have, is FnXmasTree in the holidays. And you really should be sitting next to a Christmas tree. If I was doing this right, I'd be right by my Christmas tree, and we'd be tasting it. But when I'm done here, I'm going to make sure I take this and sit by it around the Christmas tree and enjoy the rest of this glass. So I would pick this up. I would pick up a growler or two of these this weekend. Friday and Saturday, 4 to 5 p.m. is our curbside pickup. You can order from going to the foggynogginbrewing.com website, hit the beer tab. All the details are there. If you get confused, you can give me a call at 206-553-9223. My number's on that tab as well. And then we'll have it all ready for you so you can drive up, swap out your dirty growlers. I'll give you some clean ones and all your other stuff. So merchandise, bottles, pint glasses, shirts, hats, everything you want to make your holiday even better. Carla just joined. Welcome, Carla. So next week, since we will be doing a tasting next Wednesday before Christmas, but we're going to be tasting Christmas duck appropriately. So what I would do is I would pick some of this up, and so you can participate in real time. I'd pick up some bottles or growlers of Christmas duck. Now, we just did a big bottling of Christmas duck today, and you could pick up some bottles of this. And then you can be following along with our taste next week of Christmas duck, which is our English-style porter. And then we have Christmas on next Friday, which is, it's just around the corner. So last-minute shopping, we can help you out. You just pick it all up here with your beer, your Foggy Noggin merchandise, get those last people off your list, all taken care of, and they'll be very happy to get some Foggy Noggin under the tree. So tomorrow night we have our virtual happy half hour, which is the happiest half hour of the week. We're going to have a very big Christmas theme, so if you like Christmas music, I would really join in on that. And little laughs, a little fun, a little singing, a little music, piano, and it's the happiest half hour of the week. It's the official start of the weekend. And then next week, Christmas Duck Porter is our virtual tasting beer. And then it's Christmas, and then it's New Year's, and then 2021 is right around the corner, and you want to start off with a bang, so make sure you stock up with your effing beer so you can get through the rest of these holidays and start 2021 in a great standing. FnXmasTree Holiday IPA, growler fills only, this weekend, Friday and Saturday, 4 to 5 p.m. I'll give you one more taste of this. Really is delicious, and it's one that it's only here for a short period of time every year, and you're going to want to make sure you don't miss out this year. So get your growler fills. Thanks for watching. Everybody stay safe out there. Look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow night for the Happy Half Hour. Facebook Live at 5:30. And then this weekend on the curbside pickup, I'm sure I'll see a bunch of you there. And then everybody have a great holiday season. And if you joined late, I'm going to put this on our Facebook page, and you can watch it from the beginning, get all the recipe and all the tasting notes. So everyone take care. Cheers, everyone, and happy holidays.